The KG M40 is a new assault rifle unlocked at tier 15 of the Season 2 Battle Pass. It is very similar to the STG-44, which is a popular Vanguard weapon. It has some pretty sick, nasty gameplay in both Vanguard Multiplayer and in Warzone to share while we review the strengths and weaknesses of this weapon. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I don't think the KG M40 is a weapon that you need to prioritize unlocking and leveling up as soon as possible. Notice both the KG M40 and the STG-44 take 4 shots to kill, 3 if you can land 1 headshot. Both have access to the vital proficiency, and both have access to high caliber rounds to speed up your time to kill. In all scenarios, the KG M40 kills slightly faster than the STG, which is great, and it also has access to a rapid fire barrel that we'll come back to in just a minute. Damage means nothing though if you can't hit your shots, and you can see the KG M40 actually has less base recoil than the STG-44, making it an even more appealing weapon. I mean, even the rapid fire barrel is a pretty viable option for close to medium range when it comes to recoil. You'd expect the recoil to get out of hand, but it still retains that straight diagonal pattern, it just climbs a little bit faster. But assault rifles aren't all about damage. Handling is just as important, and the KG M40's handling is significantly slower. It has a faster than average sprint to fire speed, which is nice, but you'll see when I get to the attachment combos that really doesn't matter in the long run. What matters is aim down sight speed, which it happens to be the slowest aim down sight speed in the assault rifle class. It has a slower than average aim down sight strafe speed, and the slowest reload in class with only 25 in the magazine to start. On paper, this may seem like a fair trade-off to make for a faster time to kill, but you have to keep in mind attachments are essential in Vanguard multiplayer. They can make or break a weapon, and if a weapon can't compete with optimal attachments, the base stats are irrelevant. And that's why I argue the KG M40 is less appealing than other assault rifles, at least compared to the STG-44. Attachments don't break the KG M40, but they don't necessarily make it that great either. Typically, to create a well-rounded assault rifle build, you'll slap on high caliber ammo, a recoil reduction barrel, and some complementary attachments to round out any of the weaknesses. The KG M40 does not follow this trend. Both of its recoil reducing barrels have horrible speed penalties and make the weapon painfully slow. Even when you try to compensate for aim down sights and sprint to fire and movement speed with the grip and the underbarrel attachments, your speed and handling stats end up being slower than light machine guns. So I highly recommend staying away from the Krausnik and the shrouded barrel. The aim down sight barrel, which I believe is called the VDS 500mm, is the barrel that I gravitated towards using. It increases your handling and movement speeds to feel more like how a normal assault rifle build will feel, and the recoil penalty on the barrel turns out to not be that bad. If you supplement it with recoil reducing attachments and you have that 50 round BMG mag on it, the KG M40 will compete with some of the best assault rifle builds. But when you go with this build, I find it challenging to use at long range. There's some visual bounce that makes it hard to track and hit targets. I mean, it's still usable, but at the end of the day, I would rather use the STG because it's easier to use at range and simply more versatile. Now, the last barrel I want to highlight is the rapid barrel, which I think is the fun and probably the best way to use the KG M40. Combining this barrel with the vital proficiency, it gives you the fastest time to kill for a full auto assault rifle at 146 milliseconds. With the right attachment combo, you can land shots confidently in close to mid-range, and at long range, it's about the same difficulty as the 500mm barrel. I mean, it's still not reliable at long range. I wouldn't recommend sitting back with this weapon, but you could squeeze out a kill if need be. Hopefully you see by now that no matter which way you build the KG M40, it's always going to have a pretty big downside that holds it back from excelling in any playstyle. It can be usable at long range, but it'll be extremely slow. It can have reasonable handling speeds, but it's harder to control. You have a fast time to kill, but it's limited to close to mid-range. Other assault rifles may not be the best weapon, but they have a few strengths that make it powerful in one specific playstyle. For example, the bar is the king of long-range engagements, or there will be well-rounded in several stats and relatively better than other assault rifles, like the Automaton and the Cooper Carbine. So in the end, when it comes to Vanguard multiplayer, I think the KG M40 is an average assault rifle. It's a decent weapon. I can do great with it, but I don't see myself using it. I'd rather use the STG-44 because it's more versatile and easier to use, even though it kills a tad bit slower. But I mean, even right now in Season 2, the STG isn't a assault rifle I actively use. My go-to ARs are the Automaton, the Bar, the Volk, and the Cooper. If you want to know why, I recommend going to check out my worst to best assault rifles review for Vanguard, where I rank and compare all these stats for the ARs. Now, what about Warzone? I want to talk about the KG M40 and Warzone real quick. A lot of what I've discussed for multiplayer carries over into Warzone. The KG M40 is very similar to the STG, but actually will kill slower than the STG. The STG in most of like the assault rifles are going to kill about 100 milliseconds faster. But that's not an instant write-off because the KG M40 is way more accurate than the STG. That's actually one of the issues that I have with the STG in Warzone, is that it's kind of hard to use at long range. You can see the recoil pattern is much more contained. There's not much horizontal movement, and this is amplified even more when you fully kit out both of these weapons. I think the KG M40 feels more similar to the Cooper carbine, if not better, at least when it comes to recoil. And in terms of TTK, having a faster time to kill doesn't matter if you can't hit your shots. So depending on your skill level, the KG M40 may be a great pick for you in Warzone. I am definitely going to be playing around with this some more and see how it compares to the Cooper carbine, especially after all the nerfs it received at the start of Season 2, because that's the weapon that I've been running as a primarily in Warzone. So what do you think? If you've tried out the KG M40, are you liking it? Are you not liking it? If you haven't unlocked it yet, is this a weapon you're looking forward to after watching this video? If you found this video useful or were entertained, please tap that like button. Check out some of my other videos and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you'd like to help support the channel directly, there's some links towards the bottom of the description that you can check out. Peace.